Cobb TV. Watch your life make sense.
Hello and welcome to another Ask the Kabbalist program. With me, as usual, is Kabbalist Dr. Laitman. You are invited at any time to go to tv.kabbalah.info and send us questions to this show. You'll find our Ask the Kabbalist page right there, and you can submit video questions, audio questions, or text questions, and you can do it at any time. We will begin with our first question for today, which is coming from Holland. And it's a video question. Let's watch it.
Hello, my name is Anne. I'm from Holland. And my question is, why does we have a good life, a lot of money, things that we can do, we are able to do it, and why do people in Africa or in Asia can't do all that things?
This is a question that the great minds have been asking throughout history for years. Because truly there are kings and simple people, there are those who are starving and those who have surplus. There are those who live a healthy life and there are those who are constantly ill and so on. There are infinite differences between people and qualities and conditions. And the truth is that we don't know why.
It's not fair, that's for sure.
All true. If we see only part of life, then it seems to us unfair. But in the wisdom of Kabbalah, when we reveal the whole of reality, we start understanding the roots. Why someone is really as if successful in this life and has everything, and someone else has nothing, and he's miserable and suffers throughout his whole life. And when we start to discover the whole picture of the process which a person undergoes, including the souls and the incarnations and his life in this world, including his time in the next world, and once again he returns and incarnates into this world, we see that actually everyone is equal. Everyone has an equal opportunity to discover themselves. There is spirituality in this world, to ascend and compensate for this world in spirituality and to achieve such a wholeness where one no longer feels himself lacking something or in a part of the process he's undergoing. But if we could see all of our incarnations, in general, we would see that we're all equal, and no one is favored over the others.
No, I don't really understand. How can you say that everyone is equal? There are people who don't even have the opportunity to survive, they're struggling to survive.
Yes, but we also see in our world that if we want to reach something good, then there are a few years during which we have to invest ourselves in hard work, toil ourselves, live under restrictions, and maybe even more in order to achieve something good. So in our life we have better times, worse times, where we're ill, we lack money, we lack status, we lack something else, and then we achieve it, and we acquire something, and so on. So it's the same towards this other life, meaning this incarnation with respect to the next incarnation. Maybe in this incarnation I'm entirely lacking, in the next incarnation I'm all complete and whole, and I also see the people in our world, those that are lacking and those that are whole.
So this explains it, actually. If you're saying that eventually, if you look at the total calculation, every soul went through equal states, then
yes, during the process which it undergoes, every soul has all the conditions, from the worst to the best.
So my only problem is that I don't see all of my past life cycles and future life cycles. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, this is clear. And how can I...
So you have to transcend it and see. Thus, the people in this world, of course, they can't say that this whole life is just. But whoever transcends beyond this life and starts watching from above, then he sees that everything is just.
Okay, I hope this answers...
It's possible for everyone.
Really? It is possible for everyone to do?
Of course.
Okay, let's move on to another question coming from a completely different topic. This is a video question from Ranis from Chicago. Let's watch it.
Hello, my name is Ranis and I live in Chicago. And my question is, does Kabbalah share restrictions that religions have on sex? Thank you.
Kabbalah does not refer to a person, the ordinary person in this world that's included of his body and his body's tendencies. Does not speak about that at all, neither by psychology nor physiology nor anything else. One may have different deviations, one may have different characteristics, mentality, age. We're not talking about that at all. We're talking about the soul, not about the body. Thus, red, black, white. One may have homosexual or lesbian tendencies, with the different forms of life that also it has nothing to do with religions, nor nationality, nor anything else. If you want to develop your soul, then you have an opportunity through this method to do so.
Okay, this is clear. This is with respect to anyone being able to study the wisdom and use it. I want to ask a different question. How do you, as a Kabbalist, do you agree or disagree with all the, the sex industry, the pornography industry that is happening in today's world? Is it something that Kabbalah agrees with or disagrees with?
Kabbalah says as follows: until a person has corrected himself, all that he develops is in order to stimulate the desire, to advance the desire towards correction. Therefore, also in all these things that exist in this world, like the sex industry and so on, they're useful. The use is that they open up before a person the broadest sex world, and the person undergoes these things more quickly, understands them more quickly, feels them more quickly, and discovers more quickly the emptiness of the matter, and then afterwards he is in need of higher things. But undoubtedly we must undergo this phase, and as if we have to immerse in it, and thus there's place for it. The wisdom of Kabbalah says there is place for any phenomena in this world, and we mustn't eradicate it, but only expect its quick correction. And there is no coercion in anything. There mustn't be. And if by this I don't harm the other, then whatever I do is allowed.
Okay, maybe on the same topic I would also ask, why specifically sex is something so strong today? Like, it seems like the more time progresses and humanity develops, this earthly raw desire is just becoming stronger and stronger, very, very powerful.
True. We're really undergoing this phase, and it says so in the wisdom of Kabbalah that at the end of days, before the spiritual correction, that which will really grow and break beyond the boundaries of normality will be sex, the urge for sex. Suddenly, the desire for it will rise within a person, and a person will really be crazed for these lusts. Because it's against spirituality, one against the other as a projection from spirituality. In spirituality, we have to reach the connection with the Creator, which is called the spiritual coupling. And in this world, we have the same urge in this world for the corporeal coupling. And thus, this is how it's expressed. And it will reach much worse and weird and stranger forms than today. But we'll have to undergo this. And as a result, we're approaching the spiritual correction ever more. Thus, we needn't pay that much attention to it. So we're engaged in it, so we are. The main thing is to let it pass naturally as much as possible without any suppression.
But what's there's Raz's curiosity. What's the connection between the connection with the Creator that we make and the sexual connection that, say, two spouses make?
It's the law of root and branch, so-called. That which exists in our spiritual root, it projects onto our corporeal world the same intensity, which is very unique, and thus people today, they feel the pleasure, the yearning, the uniqueness that exists in sex like in no other pleasure. Neither in food, nor control, nor honor, nor science, nor anything else. Everything as if crumbles and becomes grayer. People stop thinking about everything else in life, and this thing, naturally, the desire for sex, the yearning for it, around it, grows and rises. And thus we see how it breaks all boundaries, and kids from the age of 10 up to elderly people of the age of 80, everyone is really into it. We should know that until we come to the spiritual correction, the spiritual coupling, the spiritual sex, if you will, this thing will not come to balance and will give us many more weird phenomena.
Okay. The spiritual coupling with the Creator is better, I understand.
The spiritual coupling doesn't stop, whereas the corporeal coupling stops right away. And thus, it is a coupling that gives you an infinite fulfillment, an everlasting satisfaction. It gives you a sensation that you truly transcend nature. The satisfaction is such that fulfills all your voids. It does not leave you any empty place, as opposed to the sexual satisfaction where you could be hungry and ill and something else, and for some time you detach from all the other deficiencies, whereas here, in the spiritual coupling, you fulfill all your deficiencies.
Ranis, I hope you got your answer there. Let's move on to another video question. This one is coming from James from California, and let's watch it.
My name is James Walters. I am from California. My question is, faith, hope, or love? Of those three, what's the most important?
Love. Very simple. Of course, love. Faith, it's a part of love that precedes love. Hope, it's a lack. It's still when a person hasn't achieved anything. And love is the final result that you have from all of our corrections, the whole process that we're undergoing. But love, it's not the love that, I don't know what this likable fellow means by saying love, but love meaning that I connect with the desires and deficiencies of all of the people in the world, and I'm capable of fulfilling them up to the point where I make them whole, perfect, and happy. That means that I love them. That's love. And it truly fulfills me then, such that it is impossible to describe more than that. Of course, it's not hope, it's already realization, and it's not faith, because I am in a realistic action, and there's nothing more than that.
But we do feel some of it, no? Even without spirituality, we do feel sometimes love towards people. Isn't it somehow similar to the kind of love you're talking about?
No. The love that we're talking about in our world, it's either I love the other sex.
No, even not towards...
yeah. Or I love my children, relatives.
My friends even.
Yes, but I love them because I feel them close to me, as being a part of me. Whereas if now we're talking about the kind of love that the wisdom of Kabbalah speaks about, it is a love where I simply love the whole of reality, all of humanity, the whole world, still, vegetative, animate, and man. I simply feel them as my own, the way I feel myself now, and I don't want to harm anyone, and I relate to this entire ecology, to this whole great big picture, this whole universe, that it's all me. And this way, if I relate to them, to all of these details, it means that I love them, that I want to fulfill them more than I fulfill myself. Say, like my small children, where I care for them more than I care for myself. I constantly serve them. That means that I love them, that I take their desires and only think about how to fulfill them. That means to love.
How can, it seems inconceivable, how can a person feel 7 billion other desires? It's going crazy.
He doesn't feel each and every desire. He feels all of them together. He feels them as the general reality. A person, such a feeling opens within him that he can be in perception towards all of humanity all at once. That's after a degree called the degree of Bina, where one acquires the transcension beyond one's ego, and then by transcending one's ego, it gives him the ability to feel all of humanity all at once, and to truly be absorbed by it, and then to truly fulfill them benevolently. The light of infinity passes through him, fulfilling all of humanity, and while it passes through him, he feels the sublime fulfillment, this upper satisfaction, a greater satisfaction than receiving for oneself. It's like parents. The more they fulfill their small children, they get a greater pleasure. They're prepared to give them. Then it means that it gives them a greater satisfaction. That's how it is with man towards all of humanity. It's called love.
Okay. What happens afterwards?
There's nothing beyond that. It's wholeness and perfection. Then a person is included in wholeness and perfection and feels no deficiencies. The whole universe, all the worlds are his.
It sounds like perfection on the one hand, but a static, still situation on the other hand.
No. On the contrary, he constantly develops because he constantly feels where he has more and more opportunities to bestow, and then greater and greater opportunities open up before him, and then one is in constant, ever-growing happiness and inspiration. Because he comes out of himself. He does not absorb, but comes out. Thus, it's limitless.
Okay. The next question is an audio question, and it seems to talk about exactly the opposite state, what we see in our world. This is coming from Mary from New Mexico. Let's hear it.
Hello. My name is Mary, and I live in New Mexico. This is my question. What's happening in the world? Why is there so much hate and bellicosity among humankind? Why is the earth erupting and quaking and changing its climate? Thank you very much.
We are undergoing the revelation of our ego, which is really in its final stages of its outbreaking and shows how horrible it is. And this feeling, it's like a clarion that pulls us or pushes us at the spiritual attainment, the spiritual revelation, our correction, for lack of any other choice. Today we're reaching a state where if we do not correct our ego, we do not restrain it, then we will not be able to simply keep on existing, neither in spirituality nor in corporeality. We'll destroy this world, we'll destroy Earth, we will cause the outbreak of wars, and eventually, if we'll survive altogether, the process arrives at some conclusion, and we must decide that in the years to come, the egoistic evolution is hopeless and unsustainable. This is why the wisdom of Kabbalah is appearing for the first time after thousands of years of its concealment, and wishes to present itself to humanity and to explain to humanity that there is an entirely altogether different direction to life, and this life is in need of correction, and we can make this correction and then achieve a happy and safe life for everyone. And this is actually the future of humanity, and the future of humanity is very nearby. It's close to us, and we can realize this. And thus, today, the Kabbalists, those who understand this method, are engaged in great work of circulating this wisdom all over the world, presenting it to each and every person as much as possible with the method of correction in order for people to understand that from this point and on, we can already start making our lives better, easy, nice, and to prepare for our next generation, for our kids, a good and beautiful world. There is a method, meaning that same upper force which has created us, that created our ego, that corrupted it on purpose, is standing next to us, and we can use it in order to correct our nature. He wants us to acknowledge our evil, correct ourselves to good, and by making that correction from the bad to the good, we will attain Him. We will attain that upper degree of godliness, and we ourselves will live that way, as it says, and you shall be as the Creator, the knowers of bad and good, and we shall return to the upper degree as it was before the sin of Adam that fell from the upper world to our corporeal world. And it is in our ability to do this in our times through the wisdom of Kabbalah. Thus, I'm very hopeful. I think that we're in a very good state. And it's true that we see, even from all the people that ask, eventually they all asked about the bad world of today.
It's something you can't deny today. In every realm of life, there's like crisis that seems to escalate and you don't see it.
Yes, and it becomes worse and worse, and thus I'm very hopeful that people will hear more and more about the wisdom of Kabbalah, which is a method for the correction of man and the correction of the world, and it's possible for us to do this, and if we'll use it, undoubtedly we'll succeed. Thus it's preferable to invest your whole life into it, because by this you pass on to humanity the best possible thing, the present, the love, your care for the well-being of the future of humanity, and I'm really hopeful that we'll succeed. And ahead of us is a good future.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Laitman. Thank you for being with us. We'll wrap up at this point. You can send questions whenever you want by going to tv.kabbalah.info. You can submit video questions or text questions or audio questions, and I'll be happy to ask them here for you. Until then, all the best.